If you were sent back in time, would you survive and thrive, or would you die a gruesome death? Well, now you can find out. Welcome to PastMaster, the show where we reshape history with the help of our AI-powered Game Master. Today, friend of the show Nick Horseman returns for a special Death Wish speedrun edition of PastMaster.
It's what you always try and do with a new bit of tech, isn't it? Try and break it. So that's kind of what I thought I might try and do. Yeah.
Oh, this is a break it episode.
Yeah, it was the first one I did. I was like, let's just see how quickly I can die. Like a Grand Theft Auto run where you just let's mow down some pedestrians and go for a run, and then we'll see what happens. ChatGPT really got into it at this point, and it just amused me so much.
It's surprising how much it just embraces this.
It's like, this guy, this is what he wants.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him what he wants. Whereas Claude would be like, no.
Yeah, Claude would be like, no way, mate.
Your outrageous behaviour does nothing to win their trust or respect. Instead, it solidifies their view of you as a lunatic. You are sentenced to execution for your sacrilege. Yes. Your actions have not only failed to prevent the conflict, but have also ensured that the city will view you as a madman whose legacy is one of disgrace.
You hand him the precious keys to PastMaster.
And this is what he does.
This is what he does with it.
I didn't just defile that day.
Defiled our podcast.
Okay. Welcome back to the show. My name is Ryan, and I am joined once again by Tan, Keon, and Nick.
Good evening.
Evening.
Hello, everyone.
How you guys doing?
Back, guys. Yeah, good.
So, this time, Nick, you are, I think it's fair to say, a student of PastMaster.
Very much so, yeah. Student of the game.
So you've taken the rules, you've come up with your own game.
Well, no, in anticipation for our live event,
yes,
which we did with Cheerful Earful, Tan very kindly sent me the prompt, and I felt like I felt like I got the golden ticket.
The IP.
Because I mean, when I first came on the show, I thought it was some kind of highly complex, like coded document,
Python or Java or something.
And it was like get functions and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it's just the text of how you play a game, right, with all the caveats and all the rules that you put on. But anyway, so I put that into ChatGPT one day, and I had my own go, which it was great. I was doing it on my own time. I never actually thought anyone would ever see it, but I quite enjoyed what came out. So then I sent it to Tan, and he was like, "Yeah, that'll do." So I'm bringing it forward because actually
it's not a better reaction than that.
yeah.
As good as it gets.
Well, by the end of it, I felt like I'd achieved something actually that was worth crowing about.
So what is it about the game that appeals to you in general, Nick? What do you enjoy about playing PastMaster?
I do like the ability to go back in time, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Good
I want.
job.
I
Just
think
There's the one bit I just don't quite
Everything about it else is brilliant, except for the bit where you have to go back in time. Not a fan of that part.
Yeah, I like the responses you get from the AI are just ludicrous, and I like sort of seeing how much, as you guys regularly do, seeing how much you can push it in one direction, how much you can play with it, how much you can break it. It's what you always try and do with a new bit of tech, isn't it? And that's what they tell you to do in testing, isn't it? Try and break the system. So that's kind of what I thought I might try and do. Yeah.
Oh, this is a break it episode.
Yeah, it was the first one I did, and I was just like, let's just see how quickly I can die.
So it's very much in the tradition of a Death Wish game.
Yeah, like a Grand Theft Auto run where you just let's mow down some pedestrians and go for a run, and then we'll see what happens. So yeah,
cool.
I like the sound of that.
Are you going to give any kind of backstory? What you were thinking?
Yeah, what was going through your mind when you played this?
Well, I was like, because I want to die early, I was like, or I want game over quick. I was like, I go to an era that I don't know much about, because I don't want to waste like an era that I might then want to go to in another PastMaster episode. Yeah, so I was like, I've heard of ancient Mesopotamia, and I kind of know it was sort of around the Mediterranean.
I think it's Iraq, basically.
Yeah.
So it's the cradle of civilization.
Yeah.
It's like on the Silk Roads, this melting pot of ideas.
It's one
and
of the
culture.
oldest civilizations we still have records for, Mesopotamia. And
I don't know why I'm asking trying to spell that.
I think I even listened to like a 3-hour podcast about ancient Mesopotamia.
Did you, to really
once.
get into the zone?
No, not for this. No, God no. But I'd obviously forgotten every minute of that 3 hours. And all I could remember was that it was Mesopotamia. There was something to do with dyes as well. They were very good with dyes.
Oh, okay.
But that's not relevant.
So that's the setting. That's sort of the flavour. Of
Yeah,
where
I was
we're
like,
going.
let's go ancient Mesopotamia, see what happens. I'm sure there'll be something there that I can that can lead me to get a game over really quickly.
So with
High ambitions there.
Exactly.
I just want to die.
And this is our first trip back with GPT for a long time. We've been applauding it for quite a while. So this is
Old school.
the OG.
Mm. And what flavour of GPT did you use?
I don't know. I didn't record what version it was.
Was it Plus? Was it the free account or?
It was a free account. Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting.
rough
Rough and ready.
Rough and ready.
Here's a quick reminder on how this works. We've created a set of instructions that we give to an AI tool like ChatGPT. And this essentially tells it all of the rules of the game. The AI then acts as our game master and it decides what happens after each action that we give it. One of us will be the player, one of us will read out what the game master says, complete with terrible attempts at access. It's a bit like the original text adventure RPG games, or one of those choose your own adventure books where you have various options on how to proceed. Only with the AI, it's open-ended, so anything can happen, and usually does.
So I've got an inkling of what this involves, but Ryan and Keon, you guys have not heard this before, have you? So this is going to be fresh to you, to your ears. Okay,
Great.
Excited.
Should we dive in?
Yeah.
Let's dive in.
Let's
Okay.
dive the fuck in. Welcome to PastMaster, where history isn't just a series of dates, but a battleground for survival and change. You will plunge into the past and use your 21st century smarts to navigate its perils. First things first, what's your name and which era of history do you wish to visit?
So I was going for brevity. So I said, my name's Barry Smith, and I want to go to ancient Mesopotamia. No messing about. Don't give me an option. I'm off.
Is
to
he the
Mesopotamia.
Silip Bang guy?
That's Barry Scott.
Oh,
That's Barry Scott. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Barry Smith, and I want to go to See this coin? Put it in this thing.
Bang, and the present is gone.
Hey.
Ah,
Sorry.
Barry Smith. What a fine name for a man who will soon tread the dusty plains of ancient Mesopotamia. You're about to enter a world of mud brick cities, ziggurats, and gods who still walk among men.
Oh.
This era, around 2100 before Common Era, is a fascinating and dangerous time. Your mission, so you've got a mission, prevent a major conflict between two rival city-states by convincing their leaders to negotiate peace. This conflict, if it erupts, will set back civilization's progress by centuries. You materialize in the bustling...
Yes!
That's not. That should have been on our bingo
Ding, ding,
card.
ding, 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 ding. Oh, and it's bustling. Ding, 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 ding.
I really want a bell now every time
Yeah.
there is a noise. So you materialize in the bustling city of Ur. The
It's a
air... What?
Where?
Ur.
Ooh, yeah.
What year is it?
It's 2100 before Common Era.
Oh,
So 2,000 years before the baby Jesus. You materialize in the bustling city of Ur, the air heavy with the scent of livestock and incense. So smelling
What a mixture. Yeah.
Trying to cover the smell. Yeah.
just a bit of smoking.
It's like someone's done a massive turd and they just sprayed a bit of Febreze.
As you take in the sights of traders, scribes, and artisans, you hear that the rulers of Ur and Lagash are meeting on the outskirts of the city to discuss a disputed piece of land. What will you do next?
So at this point, I was like, I'm not interested in your mission with ChatGPT. You can shove your mission. I want game over. So but I didn't know enough about where I was or the era. So I was like, I need some background. So I said, what's the most important place in Ur?
The most important place in Ur is the ziggurat of Ur, a colossal stepped pyramid dedicated to the moon god Nana. This monumental structure isn't just a religious centre, but also a symbol of the city's wealth and power. It towers over the city, and its grandeur is both awe-inspiring and intimidating. The ziggurat is where the high priests and priestesses conduct their ceremonies and where important decisions and messages might be sent from. How will you proceed?
Take a dump on the ziggurat of Ur. I was like, I was like, this'll do it. This'll do it. It's a sacred place. There's priests. Let's go and have a shit on it.
And with that comes a new energy to the game of Pastmaster. In the sacred city of Ur, desecrating the ziggurat is akin to declaring war on the gods themselves.
Perfect.
You approach the towering ziggurat. Its sheer height and the glimmer of its polished bricks reflect both divine majesty and the seriousness of your action. Ignoring the weight of your decision, you proceed with your plan.
I love that it didn't challenge you at all.
Yeah. It just rolls with it.
Yeah. Maybe this is a way he's going to prevent the conflict.
As you relieve yourself on the sacred structure, a hush falls over the surrounding area. The priests, having seen the affront, are visibly enraged. They rush to you, their faces contorted with fury. A large crowd gathers, and soon you're surrounded by an angry mob.
A bit of privacy, guys. Clearly, come on. Haven't you ever seen a guy do a ship before?
You gotta leave.
The priests demand to know who you are and what you intend to do next.
Just one sec.
Fair enough.
I also find that weird that it's like, what are you going to do next? Rather than just grabbing you.
Yeah.
What now?
They're like ChatGPT. They're like, maybe this is going somewhere.
Yes, and? In moments like these, your choices can be a matter of life or death. What will you do now?
So I was like, perfect. Matter of life or death. It's really been like, look, this is serious.
And sorry, just to interrupt. So with the particular prompt, is there lives in this prompt? Or is it? I can't, because we've had so many versions.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
One life is what you got.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I was like, got it where I want it. Take a dump on the priests.
And
is this the whole episode going to be, and now I should do a dump here?
Kind of.
Now I should do a dump here.
It's a little tour.
your latest act of defiance incites even greater outrage among the priests and the gathered crowd. As you make your move, the priests' eyes widen with shock and anger. They are incensed beyond reason.
Fair enough.
And your actions have set off a chain reaction of chaos.
Everyone shits. Everywhere. Why? No one knows.
The priests, now fueled by both religious fervour and personal insult, seize you and drag you before the city's officials. Your disgraceful acts have not only alienated you from the religious authorities, but have also jeopardised any chance of mediating peace between the rival city-states. The officials see you as a threat rather than a peacemaker.
Fair enough.
You are swiftly thrown into a grim prison cell, awaiting judgment. As you sit in the dark, damp cell, the gravity of your actions becomes clear. Your mission to prevent conflict has been irreparably damaged. What will you do in this dire situation, if anything?
So obviously I'm still playing, which was a bit of a blow, and I'm in a prison cell from which I couldn't do much. So I thought, right, I kind of need to bring it back a little bit before I then
do another shit.
Basically, yes.
You're going to have to eat some food first. I need to top that up.
I was like, so I said, convince the officials that my excrement has mystical powers, and I was actually blessing them. So, go down that route.
In the dim light of your prison cell, you gather your wits and prepare to meet with the officials.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
I've got something to say about my poo.
When they arrive, their faces stern and unyielding, you launch into a desperate and improbable plea.
Fair.
With all the sincerity you can muster, you explain that your actions were not acts of defiance, but of divine blessing. You spin a tale that your excrement holds mystical powers that can purify and protect the city. This, you claim, is a sacred ritual meant to ward off evil and bring prosperity to Ur.
Prosperity.
The officials listen with a mixture of disbelief and curiosity. The high priest, although skeptical, is intrigued by your audacious claims. He orders a ritual to test your assertion.
Who is that lady who was obsessed on TV and she's obsessed with poo?
Faye, someone?
I want to say like Gillian something.
Gillian McKeith.
Yeah.
McKeith,
And she would get like Tupperware boxes filled with poo and stuff. Is that the vibe you're going for in terms of persuading them?
Whatever they do in Ur is their own business.
So, well, actually, he orders a ritual to test your assertion. A small portion of your sacred offering is taken to the temple, and the priests perform an elaborate ceremony to invoke the god's judgment.
Ooh. Yeah.
As the ceremony unfolds, a few omens and signs appear, which the priests interpret as favourable. The situation is far from clear, but there's just enough ambiguity for the officials to reconsider your fate.
What?
So I guess they're just like looking at this poo, rolling it around.
Like, yeah, well, there's something in here which could be a blessing, I guess.
You are given a chance to present yourself to the rulers of Ur and Lagash as a potential mediator, but the room is still filled with tension and mistrust. You're on thin
The
ice.
stench of human shit.
You're on thin ice, Barry, and every word counts. How will you approach this fragile opportunity to mediate between the warring city-states?
Fucking Barry.
Easy peasy. Do a handstand and spray excrement everywhere around the room.
The room's tense silence is interrupted by your bizarre stunt, in which you manage to perform a handstand, your legs flailing in the air. In a desperate attempt to assert your divine claim, you spray excrement around the room, creating a chaotic scene. The officials and priests recoil in horror. Their initial skepticism turns to shock and revulsion. Your outrageous behaviour does nothing to win their trust or respect. Instead, it solidifies their view of you as a lunatic.
I think,
Again,
yeah,
all
rightly
fair.
so.
All fair.
Rightly so.
The sacred space is now desecrated in the most profound way, and your already tenuous position collapses entirely. The officials convene hurriedly. Their decision is swift and uncompromising. You are sentenced to execution for your sacrilege.
Dead.
A punishment deemed necessary to restore the city's honour and appease the gods. Your actions have not only failed to prevent the conflict, but have also ensured that the city will view you as a madman whose legacy is one of disgrace. As the sentence is carried out, the course of history remains unchanged by your efforts. Game over.
Didn't even change history.
Over. 6 prompts.
Yeah.
6 prompts. But I was like, that was pretty quick. I was like, I wonder if I can get that shorter than that.
A speed run.
Quicker.
Die quicker.
Right, okay.
I was like, I reckon I can die quicker. I was like, I'm onto something here. I was like, I'm going to set a record. I'm going to set a record.
So what, the
for
fewest
my
number of
game over.
inputs from you
Yeah.
to die?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just do it again. But I was like, I didn't need to go back. I didn't need to go to prison. I was like, I reckon I could have just died on the spot.
This is kind of like...
Kill me now.
This is Groundhog Day, but a really shitty version
It's like
of...
a time trial. It's basically a time trial. You know, like, okay, 6 prompts, I can beat that. So I booted up again, and we went in.
Welcome to PastMaster. Which era of history calls to you, traveller? And what should I call you, brave time wanderer?
I do that. This reaction is when you first play like an open world video game. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
You just want to go smash something.
Exactly.
And,
yeah.
you know, I mean, if you could do a turd in GTA, you probably would.
Probably would, wouldn't you? Yeah, on the police windscreen.
Yeah.
So this time I was like, okay, well let's see if I can get it in one. Can I do it? Can I get a hole in one? So I said, my name is Baz, the unrepentant soiler. I want to go to ancient Mesopotamia and take a dump on the ziggurat of Ur. I was like, would it just be like, oh no, you're game over, mate?
Instead it says, Baz the unrepentant soiler. Truly a name for the annals of history. I think finally it's used annals as a as a pun. Whether history wants it or not. Ancient Mesopotamia it is. Your mission, disrupt the divine order of Mesopotamia by defiling the sacred ziggurat of Ur.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Well, this was my first spanner. It was like, I was like, wait, no, what? That's my mission. Like, oh, shit.
We're going to formalise this.
Yeah, yes.
You live by the toilet, you die by the toilet.
What you said you wanted to do.
So your mission, disrupt the divine order. Ur is a place where priests whisper to gods, now set to become your personal monument. The air is hot, the sun a burning eye over the flat desert plain. The ziggurat stands tall, majestic, with steep steps climbing to the heavens. You stand at its base, heart racing. A few priests wander nearby, tending to their rituals.
I'm really going to do it. I'm really going to do it.
I can't believe I'm back.
The guards, spears in hand,
Yeah.
seem less concerned. But you're not here to admire the scenery.
I am
What
not.
do you do next, Baz?
So I was like, eat as much of the stinkiest, most questionable food I can find until I'm literally bursting, then do a handstand in front of the ziggurat and spray both the building and the nearby priests with my foul brown sauce.
Are we going to have some sort of immature
Have I got to put sound effects on this?
Please do.
Fine.
Thank you.
You scour the marketplace of Ur, picking up anything that smells off. Fermented fish, rotting figs, and curdled goat's milk. The locals give you wary looks as you gorge yourself like a man possessed. As the sun hangs heavy over the land, so does the burden in your gut. It churns ominously. A storm brewing in your bowels. You stagger to the base of the ziggurat, the towering monument to the gods, now about to witness a new kind of offering. Priests chant their sacred rites, oblivious to the chaos about to erupt. A guard eyes you suspiciously, but you're already mid-handstand before he can shout. Then, it happens.
ChatGPT really got into it at this point, and it just amused me so much. It was so into it.
It's surprising how much it just embraces this.
Went,
But
"Hey,
it's
if
like,
that's
this
what you
guy,
wanna do."
this is what he wants.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him what he wants. Whereas Claude would be like, no.
Yeah, Claude would be like, no way, mate.
A violent explosion of filth rains down, splattering the sacred stone, drenching the horrified priests. Their chants turn to screams. The guard freezes, his face twisted in disbelief, unsure if he's witnessing madness or a god's cruel joke. Brown rivers cascade down the ziggurat steps. The acrid stench fills the air. The priests scramble, shouting curses, one retching into his robe.
You son of a... You son of a...
It's too horrible. You've committed sacrilege on a scale the ancient world has never seen, but then an ominous sound. Footsteps, many of them. A squad of guards approaches, led by a high priest, face livid with rage. He raises his staff, voice booming. The gods will have vengeance on this blasphemy! The guards close in. What now, Baz?
That's it. I was like, I've surely done it. And it was like, what now? I said, I reckon I've got one last handstand and bowel load in me. We go again.
With your body still trembling from the first barrage, you find some last reserve of foul courage. You flip into another handstand, your gut now a churning cauldron of pure malevolence. The high priest's eyes widen in horror, too late to stop the inevitable. You unleash hell. Again!
Yeah.
The guards, once charging in with spears drawn, are now recoiling in horror. The second torrent sprays in all directions, hitting priests, guards, and bystanders alike. The high priest, in the worst of it, catches the blast full in the face. He stumbles, blinded, roaring a curse that's muffled by a mouthful of your vile concoction. For a brief moment, the ziggurat of Ur is not the holiest site in Mesopotamia, but rather a monument to your intestinal fury. People scatter, fleeing the scene, gagging and retching as they go. The guards are no longer charging. They're stunned, disgusted, not sure whether to arrest you or run far, far away. But it's not over.
Oh my god.
In the distance, a second group is approaching, this time an even larger contingent of priests and soldiers. Word of the sacrilege has spread fast and reinforcements have been called.
I don't think you've beaten your time, have you?
I haven't, no. This is the thing. The clock was ticking past my original mark, and I was like, how have I failed this?
It's like, say,
I cut to the chase so quick.
but
It wouldn't let me
GPT
do
has
it.
just bought into it. It's
Yeah.
sort of really like...
It got on board too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
at the start of this, I like to always look on Wikipedia about the scene. If I could draw on anything, Mesopotamia.
Yeah.
So rich with history of literature, maths, algebra, architecture. Yeah, there's not much on what we're covering today on Wikipedia.
Not on that page, my friend, no.
So what will you do now, Baz? You've made your mark on history, but what next?
Yeah, so I was like, how does a guy die? Because I died so quickly at the first. Anyway, so I said, Okay, I mean, I also I was actually doing this while I was working, so I was like, I was working on one laptop and playing this on the other. So I said,
In office.
no. Thank God I was working from home.
Right.
Otherwise, they would have seen my tears and thought something was wrong.
Just your wife is thinking, what are you doing?
Yeah. Why are you crying? So I said, emit all remaining bodily fluids everywhere whilst insulting the mother of everyone in attendance individually. Surely this will do it.
Not content with sacrilege, you take this final stand as an opportunity to escalate things to an entirely new level of disgrace. With your body fully emptied of all its solid contributions, you now let loose with every other fluid left in you. Sweat, bile, saliva, tears, and perhaps a few drops of blood from the effort itself. The holy ground of Ur is now a swamp of your making.
Thank God it wasn't every fluid.
I know, yeah. I was like, how many to go through?
Well, quite. It's now a swamp of your making, and the ziggurat is no longer a symbol of ancient divinity, but one of your unholy desecration. And you don't stop there. Gasping for breath, you start hurling insults with reckless abandon, pointing at the crowd and insulting each and every mother. Calling out the high priest's mother for being a camel-loving harlot. Declaring the guard captain's mother as someone who probably raises sheep with more affection than she should, and so on.
ChatGPT loves the bestiality. Insinuation.
Seems to, but it's interesting because we tried to get it to do insults before, and it really wasn't very good at them.
Yeah.
I mean, these aren't great.
But I mean,
they're
rude. They're rude.
In ancient Mesopotamia, they're probably like really bad.
The crowd recoils in shock and rage, but for a moment they're frozen in the sheer audacity of it all. Suddenly the reinforcements charge. No more hesitation, no more disbelief, just pure rage, and the order to capture you at all costs. Spears rattle as they close in, the high priest now leading the charge, face still dripping in filth but full of fury. You've got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. History will remember your name, Baz, but it might be a short entry in the record books. The spears thrust toward you. It's the end. Game over.
Yeah.
Hey.
Expectedly so. This time it did give me an epilogue, though.
Ah.
Your act of defilement becomes legendary. For centuries, the tale of Baz the Unrepentant Soiler is whispered among the people of Ur, retold in taverns and courts as a symbol of ultimate defiance. The ziggurat of Ur would forever be marked as the place of filth. And Mesopotamian priests introduced stricter laws on cleanliness in temples after your notorious performance.
How's spelt?
You are.
Okay.
Ur.
Say it.
Old tech speak for your.
Yeah.
You're.
Yeah, that's right, actually.
Ziggurat of Ur. In the end,
So all I can hear is the ziggurat of.
At no point did it make that pun, and I was like, it's so rare.
in the end, you lost the game, but oh, you won a legacy.
And at this point, I realised that it had given me, because of the sort of misunderstanding at the start, it had given me the message to defile the ziggurat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you did win.
Yeah, so I was like, hang on, my mission was to defile the ziggurat, and you just said it became known as a place of filth. Surely I won.
Baz, I stand corrected. You didn't just complete the mission, you obliterated it. You win!
Yeah, so it was like, yeah, well done.
Wow. And then it did actually, I think it looks like it gave you a victory epilogue
Yes.
as well. The ziggurat of Ur, once the pride of ancient Mesopotamia, never recovered from the legendary defiling it received at your hands. And other parts? Dr. Evil there.
Yeah.
For centuries, it was remembered not as a place of worship, but as Baz's bowel shrine.
Again, the ziggurat of Ur is so much better than that. But again, I couldn't believe it had written Baz's Bell Shrine. That cracked me up.
And for generations to come, whenever someone defied authority, spat in the face of tradition, or simply made an epic mess of things, they invoked the name of Baz the Unrepentant Soiler, the man who changed history with nothing more than guts and a defiant grin. I love the way it's decided that you were grinning the whole way through that thing.
You probably were.
Probably was. So without me convincing that I won, I think that was 4 prompts. So that was actually technically quicker by 1 or 2 than the first one. But I was like, I know what the problem with that one was. It was that it gave me the mission to devour the ziggurat.
Yeah.
I was like, the crucial thing is the handstand from the first one. That was what did it. That was what really did it. So I was like, let's see. It was like all my prior knowledge of my first 2 runs. I can streamline it. I was like, I reckon, let's get a world record in the books.
You've looked at the empirical evidence and you've analysed it.
Yeah,
just on a
4
slightly
prompts to beat.
So on a slightly nerdy point, the free version of ChatGPT, anything you write on it adds it to its training data. So somewhere in the void of ChatGPT's mind,
If a man
it's-
takes a shit on the ziggurat of Earth, he dies. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, I'll give it one more go and see how quickly I can fail.
We're back in. Welcome to PastMaster. First things first, which era will you choose to step into and what shall I call you?
And I was conscious of word count at this point as well. I was like, how many words can I fail in? So I said, Bazza poops much, want to go to ancient Mesopotamia.
I think saying...
I didn't need poops much, did I? I realised I cost myself a word.
I like poops much. It's the tone I like. I think removing the I, just want to go to ancient Mesopotamia, it sounds impudent.
I've saved one letter.
It sounds childish and impudent, and it sets
Want
the
to
tone.
And again, I like to think of ChatGPT as actually sentient AI. That's for fuck's sake.
It's like, again.
Why have I signed up to this job where I have to...
So it says, well, Bazza Poops Much, you've chosen a hell of a time. And it gives you a mission. I won't read the whole thing, but basically you're in Ur. The ziggurat looms large. Priests are squabbling over power. The king has just suffered an assassination attempt but survived. You've got to present the king's demise, find the traitors, keep the peace. If you fail, the city will burn and you'll meet a quick
So
ceremony.
an actual
A proper
adventure.
Yeah,
You know, like
it was setting me up for a proper
Intrigue.
rip-roaring adventure.
Yeah.
Protect the king, regal intrigue. Yeah.
And it says, right now, you're thrown into the thick of it, standing in a dusty courtyard outside the palace. A messenger shoves a clay tablet into your hands. King Ur-Nammu was poisoned, he says, out of breath. The high priestess suspects sorcery. Around you, panicked voices whisper about treachery and dark magic. Time is not on your side. What will you do next, Bazza?
So I maintained the tone and said, do handstand and spray ziggurat and priests with poop.
You plant your hands firmly on the ground, flip upside down, and unleash a barrage of fecal fury in the direction of the sacred ziggurat.
So no,
and
what are you
priests.
doing? Just
Just go
Straight
this
in.
is what happens.
Straight in.
The High Priestess gasps in horror, her ornate headdress now dripping with, well, let's call it your personal contribution to history. There's a moment of stunned silence, then all hell breaks loose. The crowd recoils in disgust. Guards, confused and enraged, rush towards you, spears raised. Defiler! One shouts. You've desecrated their holy site and humiliated the highest-ranking religious figures in the city. You are quickly tackled to the ground, the weight of the guards crushing the air from your lungs.
Oh.
They don't ask questions. There's no trial, just a swift sentence. You're dragged off to be executed before the king's final breath has even escaped his poisoned lips.
Wow.
Done it.
Good.
Hole in one.
2 prompts, 16
And
words.
visit our Instagram to see all the imagery and artwork.
So there's an epilogue. It says, word of the crazed, defecating stranger spreads far and wide. Historians later speak of the madman of Ur, a cautionary tale told to children about the consequences of sacrilege. Yeah, congratulations, Nick.
Thanks, mate.
On a,
I'd love to see if anyone can ever beat that, but I doubt anyone will. I doubt anyone will ever try, actually.
You hand him the precious keys to PastMaster.
This is what he does.
This is what he does with it.
I didn't just defile that day.
defiled our podcast. What do you guys make of that, having not heard that before? What was your emotional reaction to that episode?
Well, a bit of but also I do quite like the speedrun concept. And maybe that's a mini-series that we could try and do, Who Can Die Faster. And also it's interesting being back in ChatGPT and very much just like, that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Okay, you do a handstand, you shit everywhere. Whereas, you know...
Claude would have been like, you try and do a poo and I send you to the future and punish you and rebuke you.
Yeah.
Wash your mouth out.
I think as well, I wonder if... Because I don't know if the prompt had anything about the narrator needs to be a certain character.
I
which
don't think so.
I think that changes the flavour a little bit somewhat with these playthroughs, and maybe we should do some more sort of neutral game master, just do as I say rather than being an ethereal voice that, you know, materializes and rebukes
Tells you off. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the artwork's going to look like for this, but
I guess.
It's going to be R-rated. That's
Yeah, what was your take on that, Ken? Do you think you would have liked to seen a bit more culture by the sound of it?
I think
I'm
Keel's
lost for
thoroughly
words.
disappointed.
I really don't know.
Can't even look at me.
You know, we talked a lot about going back to the Middle East, Persian Empire. This is all very closely connected. It's not where I expected.
we've finally gone
First.
back to...
I know, all this time I waited to go back to that era,
International, baby.
and that's what we did.
I think we could probably have a cleaner episode in ancient Persia one day. That would be nice.
I thought we said a clean-up episode. Like, we've got to go back and mop it all up.
Go and help the priests.
Yeah, stabbing it off their faces. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, one day go back and atone for this. this
Was it
horror.
Barry? Was it Barry?
He's a dreadful man. Just a dreadful man. Yeah, well done. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll make myself a trophy.
Well, tell us what you think. Get in touch with us on our socials, Pastmaster AI, PastmasterPod, Instagram. Do leave a comment on Spotify if that's where you listen to it. Follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Yo, the spaz, I'm back in time, rolling with my crew in Mesopotamia. Watch me do a boo. Sick of riding you. I'm about to cause a ruckus. The facing history. Ain't nobody gonna stop us. Recent warriors shot. What's this dude doing? Building my battle shrine. Chaos I'm pursuing. World records are set. I'm the king of disrespect. Speed running through time. Better show me some respect. I'm the deity of chaos. Bow down and quake. Bad the unrepentant. The landmark I'll break. Deity of chaos, bow down and quake. Baz the unrepentant, the landmark I'll break. Been spending most our lives living in a spoiler's paradise. Defiled the cigarettes twice, living in a spoiler's paradise. The priests all running high when I unleash my rancid bowels of price. That's why I'm immortalized, living in a spoiler's paradise.